welcome to this Three Blind Mice invitational where I'll be building the Matchbox snow track, and I've decided here's me options. I actually had 5 of them. I didn't necessarily pick the best one out of them. I picked a tatty one that was reasonable without bending in the body and just your average restoration rather than anything heavyweight. I've decided to go with just a straightforward restoration back to factory spec, and I'm sure there will be others that come out with something radical and some interesting builds. It'll be interesting to see what others make of this one. Anyway, here I am drilling out the bits to accept the screw. Well, I'm just taking off the actual rolled over rivet at the moment. And there we are, just pop body off. Just get my O-ring tool in the gap and pop it. There we are, it's just popped. And coming off, splitting the body from the chassis. And it was quite tricky at the back end because there's not a lot of room between the hook and the lug that mounts the body to the chassis. And there we have the screen piece. And here I'm sewing the wheels off. They're really rusty axles, so I won't be using them again. I'll be replacing them. So I just sawed them off. With a jeweler's saw, there we go, ping. Across the room, on the floor. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Anyway, here we go, sewing off the next one. And to be honest, this jeweler's saw, they really are a handy tool. Anybody who's doing, there we are, the blade's gone as I've got it, but they really are a handy tool. Advise anyone to get them. Apart from trying to be careful that you don't snap the blade. To be fair, it's not that often I do nowadays, but they are easy to snap blades on. It's a technique in itself, learning to use them. But once you do, you won't be without the tool. And the blades are relatively cheap, even though you snap quite a few. They're a reasonably cheap thing. Just watching I don't catch the plastic as well though. And there we go, I've got that one as well now. And start separating the wheels from the axles. As you can see, look at all rust in there. Very rusty axles they are on it. One of them was bent, so they're just the scrap box really. Well, not even scrap box, they're residing in my shit tip on the floor at the moment. Ready to be brushed up tomorrow. There we are, I'm just trying to prise out one of the wheels, not wanting to damage it. You know something, with 5 to choose from, you'd have thought I'd have chose the one with the nicest axles, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd definitely think I'd chose the one with the nicest axles. Anyway, here I'm rocking it backwards and forwards on the axle and applying pressure, pulling it, because it's not actually on solid, but it's quite firmly wedged on there with the rust. Not enough to stop it turning, but enough. Some you'll have enough rust on the axles that it'll actually crack the wheels. On Matchbox, the rust does, the axle swells with the rust and cracks the plastic wheel. Luckily that's not happened here. I think this is more nylon or plastic though, compared to the brittle plastics they used in earlier wheels. It's more of a flexible nylon on these. As nylon were coming in them in that era. Anyway, I've ditched the wheels in there, the wheels are in with it. And I'm just washing the screen here. Get the dirt off it. Yeah, it's in a... well, the actual soap I'm using is Imperial Leather Cosmic Unicorn. Like it's a shower gel. If nothing else, if it doesn't clean it, it'll smell good. And here, I'm drilling out, ready for tapping. And luckily it's got a nice large post, it's broad and it's long. So I don't think anybody will complain about drilling this one out this time. Quite an easy job. And see if I manage not to break a tap this week. I've managed for absolute ages not breaking a tap. Then the other day, when I did the... which one were it I were doing? I broke the tap on it anyway. So a bit of cursing. Went down. And here I'm just putting the screw in. Check it goes home, and it has. It's gone home to the base, and here. This is where we start. The caustic bath of doom. Fizzing away happily there. Chassis and body in perfect harmony. Perfect. There we go, flapping around everywhere. And here you can see me light gradually fading. And here I'm using my solid polish for buffing up the windscreen, because of how the windscreen sits in this casting. It's quite deep away from the window frames. It hasn't got scratching on and hasn't got cracks, so the screen's protected well. And there's my solid polish that I use. It's called Bol Pol, B-O-L, P-O-L, if anyone's interested. does a decent job. And it should in effect last a lot longer than Solval would or Lamp Doctor or anything like that. Anyway, here I've got the wire wool. I'm taking the oxidisation, etc. off the casting, cleaning it, ready for paint. And it's quite good really. And as I'm doing it as factory, I'm not even bothering looking for casting seam lines and filing them out because they want to done that at the factory. I really loved this vehicle as new. I got a couple of them as a kid. I remember they were an intriguing vehicle as a kid. Because at that time you had the like Southern North Pole expeditions or whatever, and they were a new vehicle, so you saw them on TV and stuff, and it was very interesting watching. So when you got the toy, you reenacted it like. And there I was putting on the primer. And maybe this, I don't know whether I caught the silver. And here we're putting on the colour coat starting. I'm using Createx Carmine. I think it's Carmine it's called, pretty sure. It was a pretty good match anyway. It's the Wicked Colours Carmine, which matched the factory pretty darned good. As you'll see at the end, it took a little bit to cover, but I was impressed how it went on, to be honest. Compared to a lot of acrylics, it sprays nice. And there it's just started looking pink. Another coat's going on here, bringing the red up, starting to get some of the inside. Starting to take the colour well and looking good. I think this is last coats of the colour. And here, I think I'm putting the clay coat on. Or I've put the clay coat on, one of the two. Or it was finishing it off, or this is the clay coat possibly. Yeah, I think that's the clay coat. Going over the top of the silver on the chassis. Yeah, that's the clay coat I'm doing over the body now. Made it look a lot nicer. And for anybody who doesn't have one, I'd advise getting a respirator. This is mine after just one use, and you can see the paint particles that would have been in my lungs. I've been here old school for too long and not used one, and now I'm using one. I think, Jesus, I swallowed that up for years. So more than worth the investment. And here I've got my wheels on a copper wire. Sorry, a brass wire, not a copper. Just dipping them in. And here I'm doing the same with my screen. Dipping it into the floor polish. And here they're on a tissue drying out. Bring them up to the natural finish. And here, with trying Marty's arse method, I still haven't perfected it. It takes a lot of perfecting this. I think at some point I'm going to get a cheap drill press, because this is just pissing me off. It's too much aggro, to be honest, the way I'm doing it. Or maybe the nail punches are too small. And here, I'm fitting the tracks. There we go. Lovely. There, the screen's going in, the chassis's going back on. Here I'm taking the screw out. And then the chassis can go onto the body. And screw it up tight. And... Well, anyway, a reminder of where we started. A beaten and play one, and probably sat in a shed for 19 or long years. And looking rather sad for itself, although it's in good decent shape for everything being there. It's not got anything snapped off, broken, cracked. It's just decent right for restoration casting. Looking well for itself. But as we get on to my transformation, you'll see it looks the absolute dog's danglies. Nicest one I've done for a while. It was just an enjoyable build, to be honest, and here we are. Here's where I finished up. One restored and ready to go on my shelf. Snow track. Looking good after its clear coat. It's probably actually shinier because of paint technology now. It's probably shinier than when Leslie made it. To be honest, you'd probably make it more like the paints they had back then, you'd probably use a satin finish compared to or mix gloss in with satin, get it between the two, because it wasn't as glossy as clear coats are now. They were using celluloses and stuff back then. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed watching, please subscribe. I know there's far more watched than have subscribed, so please subscribe and take care out there. Bye for now.